Hi, so here's my audience. And here we go. I'm Max Kubler, and I will be giving a talk today on stress. Can you remember the last time that you were stressed about something? Odds are it was probably within the last 24 hours. Stress pervades a large part of our waking hours and has been a source of much research and study in recent years. As someone who has dealt with a great deal of stress regarding school projects and speeches like this one, this is a topic that I care about deeply. Stress affects all of us to some degree. We can't escape it, and if not properly handled, unchecked stress can lead to some very undesirable consequences. My purpose today is to show how to properly respond to the daily stressors that we all face. To do so, I wish to go over 3 points. First, I will educate on why we stress, as well as the benefits and drawbacks of stress in our lives. Next, I'll examine common coping methods that we use to respond to our stressors. And lastly, I will demonstrate effective techniques that can be used to combat stress rather than the ineffective coping methods that we often use. To explain how to manage stress properly, first let us analyze how and why we stress. Stress can help motivate us to action. It exerts a physiological response upon our body, and these things help to propel us to actually do something. It protects us from potential danger, helps us to sense and mitigate that danger, and in addition, it activates something in our body called the fight or flight response. Mary West, a writer for Medical News Today, explained in a 2021 article that the fight, flight, or freeze response refers to involuntary physiological changes that happen in the body or mind when a person feels threatened. This response exists to keep people safe, preparing them to face, escape, or hide from danger. Simply put, stress helps us to deal with the strains of life. In addition, stress can be positive as a good thing. A lot of times people associate stress with negative emotions, but it can have positive effects as well. It helps to boost various mental and physical capacities that we have in our body. Danielle Kaufer, an associate professor at UC Berkeley, stated in a 2015 interview for Greater Good magazine that manageable stress increases alertness and performance, and by encouraging the growth of stem cells that become brain cells, stress improves memory. Stress, while it has some positives, can also have some negatives that, as I'm sure you're all aware of. It can cause some severe cognitive deficits where you can't think clearly when you're stressed, and even more debilitating, it can cause some mental health crises. According to the University of Arizona website, in a 2021 article titled "The Effects of Stress on College Students and Ways to Overcome It," while stress has several physical indicators, it can also manifest itself in more internal ways. The psychological effects of stress include depression, anxiety, and problems with cognitive functioning. Now that we've talked about why we stress and why stress can be bad, let's examine the common unhealthy coping methods that we often use to deal with this challenge. First of all, procrastination. Humans procrastinate to try and alleviate stress. Procrastination puts off our problem, but ultimately it doesn't solve it because it just puts it off to a later date, and we have to deal with it later, and then we're more stressed. Bill Knoss, who holds a doctorate in education, discussed procrastination in a 2015 article for Psychology Today. He said, "When distracted by stresses, you're likely to put things off and suffer from a procrastination accumulation effect. This is where you feel stressed, put things off, and feel stressed thinking about what you've left undone." I'm sure we could all relate to that at some point. As you do this, you leave more things undone and feel even more overwhelmed. This is a classic vicious cycle. In addition, we often take out our stress upon others, forms of anger. It's a sad fact of life, but it's true. We yell and we're hostile, and unfortunately the targets of our anger and hostility are oftentimes our family and friends. Kristen Fuller, a medical doctor, wrote about this in an online article that she penned for Discovery Mood and Anxiety program, and unfortunately I couldn't find the published date for this. She said, "When individuals are scared or worried about something, they often choose anger, unconsciously is a way to feel as though they're in control of their anxiety. Taking out anger isn't effective, and it can cause you to lose friends, and so I would suggest you seek an alternative method. Now that we've talked about some unhealthy ways to cope with stress, let's now go over some positive ways to soothe out our stressed out minds. First of all, avoiding stressors can help to alleviate their effects. Obviously, we can't run from all of our problems, but if we know that we're going into a situation where we're going to be experiencing an unnecessary amount of stress that doesn't need to happen, it might be best to avoid it. According to a Harvard Medical School website in a 2015 article titled Best Ways to Handle Stress, the first step towards reducing stress is learning what your triggers are. If you know what pushes your buttons, then avoid it. But there are stresses that we have to accept, so we must change our reactions to them. The second method that we can use in order to alleviate stress in a more positive way than the traditional coping methods would be to setting goals, and this is recommended by experts. Again, according to the Harvard Medical School, when people set goals for themselves, they have a positive sense of commitment, feel they're in control, and are optimistic. I know personally for myself, when I set goals and I accomplish them, I do feel a sense of accomplishment. It's like checking off a little box, and it motivates me to further go and accomplish more of my goals, which further helps to reduce my stress. Ultimately, while seemingly simple, mitigating potential stressors and setting goals are recommended by medical experts to alleviate stress and have proven to be effective. To conclude, my purpose today was to show how to properly respond to the daily stressors that we all face. First, I educated on why we stress, as well as the benefits and drawbacks of stress in our lives. Then I demonstrated common coping methods that we use to respond to stressors. And finally, I demonstrated effective techniques that can be used to combat stress. Remember, while stress is a large part of everyday existence, we don't have to let it control our lives. As we seek to manage our fears and anxieties in positive ways, create a happier and more fulfilling version of our future. Thank you.